my rude coworker would interrupt anyone who spoke and say, "Who cares about that?" We started responding to her the same way. "Yeah, but I don't really care about that," Diane said for the third time that morning while I was trying to explain the new filing system that our boss specifically asked me to teach everyone. She was sitting at her desk painting her nails while the rest of the team took notes. "Can you just skip to the important parts?" The whole thing was important, which was why we were having mandatory training. "This is all important, Diane. You need to know how to file reports correctly." She sighed dramatically. "I don't really want to hear about that. Let me tell you what happened at my cousin's wedding this weekend." She launched into a 20-minute story about centerpieces while everyone waited because she wouldn't stop talking until she was done. This happened every single day. Anytime someone tried to speak about work or their life or literally anything, Diane would cut them off with her favorite phrases. "Yeah, but I don't really care about that." Always with the extended yeah, like she was doing us a favor by even acknowledging we'd spoken. When Jerome tried to tell us his wife had given birth, she interrupted with, "I don't really want to hear about that. Babies are boring." But guess what happened at my yoga class? When Lisa announced her promotion, Diane actually stood up and said, "Yeah, but who cares about work stuff? Did you see what I posted on Instagram last night?" She posted a picture of her dinner. It got 12 likes. The breaking point came during the quarterly meeting. I was presenting the budget report I'd worked on for 3 weeks when Diane raised her hand. "This is really detailed, but I don't think anyone really wants to hear all this." The CEO was literally in the room waiting for these exact numbers. We could skip this and I could tell everyone about the networking event I went to. She stood up without permission and walked to the front of the room. "So I met this guy who owns a boat." She talked for 15 minutes about a stranger's boat while the CEO checked his watch. When he tried to redirect back to the budget, she said, "Yeah, but that's not as interesting as what happened next with the boat guy." The CEO looked stunned. "We need to review these numbers, Diane." She rolled her eyes. "Numbers are boring. Let me finish my story." After the meeting, our manager pulled me aside. "Does she always do this?" I started listing examples. The time she interrupted the fire safety training to talk about her apartment renovation. The day she told a client on speakerphone, "I don't really care about your concerns," then spent 20 minutes describing her breakfast. The morning she literally unplugged someone's presentation to show vacation photos. But when someone else talks, she says she doesn't want to hear it, our manager said, slowly processing this information. "Every single time. Watch." The next day proved my point. Coworker mentioned his sick mother and Diane immediately said, "Yeah, but I don't really care about that." Then spent 30 minutes describing her health insurance benefits. Someone shared news about a project and got, "I don't really want to hear about that," followed by an hour-long monologue about her haircut. The pattern was so consistent you could time it. Someone speaks for 10 seconds. Diane dismisses them, then talks for minimum 20 minutes about herself. "We need to address this," our manager said. But Diane had seniority, and HR said being self-centered wasn't a fireable offense. So we tried a different approach. Started responding to her the way she responded to us. When she began talking about her weekend plans, 5 of us simultaneously said, "Yeah, but we don't really care about that." She looked shocked. "That's incredibly rude. I'm sharing important information. Important information about her brunch order." "I don't really want to hear about that," Jerome said when she started describing her new shoes. "Can we focus on work?" She filed a complaint with HR about a hostile work environment. "They won't let me communicate," she told the HR representative while we all sat in mediation. "Every time I try to share vital information, they dismiss me." The HR rep asked for examples of vital information. "Well, yesterday I was telling them about my coffee preferences and they said they didn't care." The HR rep looked at her notes. "But it says here you tell others you don't care when they speak." Diane nodded. "Because they talk about boring things, work stuff, personal problems. Who wants to hear that?" The HR rep stared at her. "So you can dismiss others, but they can't dismiss you?" Diane nodded again. "Obviously. I have interesting things to say." She genuinely believed this. The mediation ended with Diane being told she had to listen to others if she wanted them to listen to her. She quit 2 weeks later. Her exit interview consisted of her talking for 40 minutes about how unfair it was that people didn't want to hear about her life. The HR rep later told me she'd said, "I don't really want to hear about that," when asked about her actual job responsibilities.